and welcome to Beyond the Pew. Since today is Valentine's Day, we're going to talk about how to talk to your kids about dating and relationships. Now, there is so much in this topic to talk about that I know we're not going to get through everything, but hopefully we can touch on some of the basics. So I know a lot of people have different ways of talking or dealing with this subject of talking to your kids about dating and relationships. But what I've seen is most parents kind of freak out that their kids are even thinking about this subject, that my little baby even is interested in anyone. And so we tend to just kind of ignore the subject altogether and not even talk about it. What happens in this situation is that our kids, instead of learning from their parents, you guys, they learn from their peers who have no idea what they're doing. Or they learn from the culture, they learn from the media, they learn from TV shows, their music, movies, and the culture, the media is not the right place for your kids to learn about dating and relationships. It should come from you. So the best thing that we can do is just kind of bite the bullet and just have that conversation. The best way that I've found to start this conversation is to ask the question of your kids, what do you think that the purpose of dating is? And have the conversation of what they think dating is for. Chances are they have no idea what the purpose of dating is because the culture and the media don't know what the purpose of dating is. So you can begin the conversation by talking about the purpose of dating and relationships is to see if that person is, you could potentially spend your life with that person. Sometimes we think dating and relationships is to get to know someone. Well, that's not entirely true because that's what friendship is for. Friendship is to try and get to know someone. But once we have established a friendship with someone, then we can start asking that question, can I spend the rest of my life with this person? Of course, our kids might look at the people that are in their class and they aren't ready to live up to that kind of discernment. An 8th grade boy in your daughter's class is not ready or mature enough to be looked at and think, well, can I spend the rest of my life with this 8th grade boy? No, they're not in that place yet. They're not grown. They're not mature. Our kids are not even sure who they are yet, and they don't have the capability to be able to ask the question of, can this other young person who also doesn't know who they are, can they be my future spouse? It's not that time. They're not ready for that yet. So we need to encourage our kids to start making foundational friendships and healthy friendships instead of asking that question because they're just not ready to ask that question. But what we can do is have a conversation of, okay, in the future, when you are ready to ask that question of, could I spend the rest of my life with this person? Could I discern a relationship with this person? It's great to have the conversation between you and your kids about what they might look for in a future spouse, a future husband, a future wife. So one thing that I found really helpful for my own life and that I've seen that's been really helpful for the high schoolers and the junior high kids that I mentor is we sit down and we talk about, okay, what's important to you? And we make a list. And it's not like a shallow list, like must be a doctor, must drive a Ferrari, must make $400,000 a year, must have blue eyes, none of the shallow stuff. But can this person lead me in a relationship with God? Does this person have a desire to grow? Do they lead me further away from God or do they lead me closer to God? Some practical things like, do they lie to their parents? And do they encourage me to lie to my parents? Are they a hard worker? How do they treat their siblings? If they have sisters, how do they treat their sisters? Do they frighten me when they get angry? Are they kind? Are they merciful? Different questions like that, asking those questions will help your children to be able to find a holy man or woman of God when the time is right and when they're ready. And it's important to start asking these questions now when they're young so that they can start, they're going to have emotions and feelings throughout their entire lives. And they're going to be better equipped to deal with those emotions and feelings when they know what they want and what they're looking for in the future. So when you open up this line of communication, you can start practicing with your kids how to have this discernment early, how to have this discernment now. So if your son comes to you and says, I like this girl in my class, you can have that conversation, and he might like this girl in her class, but maybe she puts people down a lot. Of course, they're not ready to start discerning marriage or anything like that, but it's good practice for the future to say, okay, I like this person, but they gossip a lot and it really bothers me. I like this person, but we don't share the same values. We don't share the same faith. I have a lot of feelings for this person, but they flirt a lot with a lot of other people. And those are problems that come up, as many of us know. We all carry wounds with us from past relationships that you can help your children avoid by allowing them to practice now what's important with the things that they need to be looking for and having good discernment now. Or if your daughter comes to you, I really like the boy down the street, and having that conversation of, okay, maybe you really like him, but does he share your faith? Does he share your values? Does he make fun of you when you say, I can't hang out, I have to go to mass, So now is the time to practice that kind of discernment, even if it's so early for them, they're not even really in that place to be able to discern marriage, but practice being able to see and distinguish between what is something that's worth continuing and what's something that's worth not continuing. Many of us in our own lives and our own experiences, we've made mistakes in dating, we've made mistakes in relationships because of big character flaws that the other person had, and we can help our kids to avoid those kind of mistakes. Are they going to make mistakes? Absolutely, they're going to make mistakes, but you can help them avoid making the mistakes that will cause deep wounds and that will hurt their future relationships that could be good relationships. So just open the door of communication. If you get anything from today, open the door of communication. I know it's scary, but I think that many times in this subject, we're more scared of our kids than they are of us. So open that door of communication, talk to them about it, and chances are when you have that door of communication open between you and your kids, they will be more open and receptive to talking to you about it when something comes up, when there's a new person in their life, and they're more willing to share with you if they know that you are open to hearing them. One final thing is start praying for your kids' spouses now, your kids' future spouses now. My mom started praying for my future husband when I was a little girl, and I started praying for my future husband when I was in middle school. And it's never too early. And so my husband now actually attributes several places in his life where he sees as, God spared me from this or that because my mom has started praying for him very, very early on. So start encouraging your kids to pray for their spouses, pray for your kids' future spouses, and you'll see the fruit be born later on in their lives. Pray for their vocation. Maybe they're not called to marriage. Maybe they're called to religious life, which would be amazing. But begin to pray for their future spouses, their future vocations, their future lives, and you will see fruit that is born from that. I hope you were able to take away some tools and tips from this. We will definitely be praying for you. Like I said, open that door of communication and just start praying and interceding for your kids. Happy Valentine's Day. God bless.